this is reality TV that works. Startups, made in Kansas City.
Come on in here and catch up with these guys. They just came back from a mentor meeting with one of our corporate sponsors over at Black & Veatch Engineering.
What we're all about here at CAPS is aligning economic needs and economic development with educational structure. So high school students get an opportunity to fast forward into their future of high demand, high skilled jobs, while employers, large businesses, small startups, are able to help mentor us, educators, into a pathway that aligns with business needs. Thus, the partnership of education and business is so solid and a win-win for everybody.
We take 2 to 3 days of connecting with kids and discovering their strengths, what they're built to do, and then we align those up with, hopefully, the future end user. And we're finding that these kids actually have more than we ever expected they had, this untapped potential.
I'm designing a product for the education system using technology. Sometimes there's kind of a disconnect in the classroom when you learn something in the classroom and then you go home and you forget how to do it, so I'm trying to solve that.
I'm working on a little background research for our problem where our sort of problem area is finding or assessing kind of the needs of foster care children in the foster care system and like the pain points and the weaknesses of that whole process.
And you'll notice a lot of graphics on the wall. That is really who we are at CAPS. It's lots of fun. Sometimes every rule and policy and regulation can kind of bind you up to not be free to think. Sometimes we slip into that in our traditional methods of education. And so we really want to orbit around that, taking the great things that we're doing in our schools and then applying those in a space like this. In the Connect space, this is where you have that informal gathering, the large meetups, so that people can really interact rather than a one-to-many. It's almost many-to-many so that you can interact. So it's not your traditional classroom, if you see.
One of the first things that we did as a program was go to the business environments and say, tell us what we should be teaching our students.
I think the connections help a lot. I'm working with business partners from actual companies and talking to them and getting their experiences will help you to build your business later on.
The accelerator has basically taught us a lot about building companies and building businesses, from the aspects of like the connections with the partners, the business partners in the real world that we get to meet up with. I've definitely learned a lot about the businesses and how to start businesses, the whole design process in general. And the main thing I hope to pull out of it is definitely the connections that'll help me maybe start up a business in the future.
In this room right here, you've heard a lot about the students connecting with the outside world and business environment. We love that when they get out, make those connections in our influence. But this is also a safe place for the mentors and business partners that come here and meet with students. And so that's basically what you have here is a subject matter expert that's coaching them up through their process.
Because those mentoring and networking connections, that's how people are getting jobs. We can't have kids graduating from college, waving a degree saying, come hire me. Those days don't exist anymore. We have to work really hard to connect those young people early on, maintain those networks, grow those networks, so that by the time they're coming into their junior, senior year, people are waiting for them.
The learning atmosphere at CAPS is way different than at a normal high school. Like at a typical high school, it's kind of like you can tell the differences in the groups of types of people and things, and at CAPS, just everybody's kind of under one blanket. It's not, oh, those are the popular kids or those are the engineering kids, just kind of everybody respects everybody else, and we're all here for the same reason.
The CAPS program is a lot different than a typical home high school. It's very hands-on, interactive, and I think you learn more and benefit more from the CAPS program than you would at your regular high school.
I mean, you just get to do things, you get to have your own experience instead of just
more freedom.
Instead of just like studying in class, you get to actually do things that you would have to use in the future if you want to go into the medical field.
And we're seeing students leave with a heightened sense of confidence to to face a college level environment with the knowledge of what's on the other side of college so that they can pursue very focused, because they've discerned what they like, what they're good at, what they have contacts in, and they're able to do that all here without paying a cent of college tuition. They leave here with that sense of confidence. They leave here with a strong focus of what their future could be. They leave here with mentors and connections to the industry that they're interested in. They leave here with a set of professional skills that would surprise you for 17 years old. I think some of our business partners would like to have employees that have some of those professional skills. So they leave here with a toolkit and a level of self-confidence that's very unusual for a high school student.
Having the opportunity to work with the real world and real businesses, unlike a lot of kids in the college experience would even have, even with some internships, we're getting more experience here than they really get.
CAPS helps us with the real world experience by giving us sort of a professional etiquette or like an understanding of how the professional world works, and also getting used to public speaking and just on the spot talking in front of audiences.
There's a dress code basically in order to bring a more professional feel to the environment and make it more of a professionalized workplace, and it actually does help with the attitudes of the kids and keeps them more on task.
Well, at CAPS, we try to follow and really align ourselves with the future of industry or the economic trend. And what we're seeing nationwide is an uptick in entrepreneurialism. 2 out of the 3 jobs are created through small business and small business startups. So what we began seeing are students that were creating products that were provisionally patentable. And we were amazed because they had pushed that far. And then we saw entrepreneurial students that said, hey, look, I'm thinking about I need to start an LLC. I ought to be running my own place, and I'm a 17-year-old. So this trajectory just got faster and faster. And we know that not all students are going to start their own business and be that entrepreneur, but we heard from industry that even if they aren't in a startup, that's the kind of behavior they want. That's the kind of innovation that they need in their companies. So regardless if they're launching their own startup or they're immersed in a highly evolved corporate environment or a research firm around Kansas City, they want entrepreneurial spirit. And so that's what we saw naturally happening with these young people.
This one here actually, the Mahi straw, that is a filter system that actually has been fully patented, that is out there. They've started an LLC also called Clearwater. And so those 2 students, one at Illinois and one at Cal Poly, are still partnered up and running that company. And so those are wonderful success stories of kids going to that level and sticking with it. It's not the same for everybody. It's multiple paths that you need to put these kids on, but inspiring that and that creativity and that imagination and letting them then run with that is really what we're about.
A co-production of KCPT and Outpost Worldwide at home in Kansas City. Production, post, content.